Hey everyone, welcome. It's day 3 of our Design Academy. Thank you all for being here today. We can go ahead and kick things off and get started. Today we're going to be covering how to manage your procurement process in Houzz Pro, as well as how to best set up your team for success in Houzz Pro and the tools that can help your team kind of work and operate on a day-to-day basis. So we'll kick things off with some introductions. My name's Abby. I'm on the product marketing team here at Houzz. I get to work really closely with our customers. I may have spoken to some of you before and understand how you're using the platform. And then I get to work really closely with our product and engineering teams to relay your feedback and make sure that we build the features that you guys want to see. Michael, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. My name is Michael. I am a client success manager. I have been at House through the inception of this and seen it grown and been a part of it. And I do work with design accounts, so there might be some of my accounts on here and some other pros that I've worked with. But I'm definitely very excited to see everything that House Pro where where it started, and where it's come from, and be able to share that and continue to watch it grow and partner with Abby and our engineer team with all your feedback and questions and things like that to be able to better improve your day-to-day business operations.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, as we go through the demos today, feel free to add any questions into the Q&A tab, and I will do my best to go back through those, answer them when I can, and any that are going to be helpful for the broader audience, we'll stop and pause throughout and bring those questions to the surface so that we can all kind of learn about those things together. Like I said, recording will be shared afterwards, so don't feel like you need to take any notes. And if you've missed the prior 2 days, we'll also have recordings of those available online as well, so you can have access to all of those fun things. So without further ado, here's kind of the rundown of the day. We're going to be covering the ins and outs of creating POs in Houzz Pro using the selections tracker so that you can get an up-to-date source of truth for every product's order status, the specs, the vendor info, the financial details, etc. We're going to go through the Houzz Pro Financial Reports and those tools, how to generate financial reports to monitor that business health, file sales tax easier, and track project profitability using our budget tool that's newly launched. And then lastly, which we're actually going to start with, is how to effectively manage your teams, the permissions, how to use Team Chat, which is a newer feature as well, and then how to integrate with Google Drive so you can manage all of your files in one central place for both you and your client to have a little bit of an easier go at things. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Michael. And like I said, if you have any questions, pop them in that Q&A and we'll answer them throughout, okay? I'm going to send around a poll as well while Michael is getting his screen set up. So if you guys wouldn't mind just answering that poll for us, that would be awesome. We'd love to know, what are your goals for attending today? What features are you specifically looking to learn about? That would be really helpful for us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Abby. So, like Abby said, we're actually going to start off with your team managing permissions. So, as your team with multiple team members and you're giving them various permissions, you're going to go ahead and do that under your company icon, logging into team members here. With the team members that you have set, they would obviously say active, but here you're able to really go in and fine tune whether someone is just going to be utilizing the design aspect of it, or you want someone to help manage your team members or your subcontractors. So you allow and really can get into the nitty gritty and into the weeds with what permissions and how much access you would like someone on your team to have. Their various roles can be their design team, admin, finance. So if you have a bookkeeper or accountant that's on staff, you're going to have something like that. Their permissions are going to be different than your design team individual who may not have more access to those financial reports. This also is going to give them project access, grant access to any new projects automatically, or if you want to go down and you're going to specifically um, filter again there too, you can go down and select the projects that you want them to have, any type of client permissions. And then if you do have a website through Houzz Pro, they would be able to make updates to it there to edit your Houzz profile. This is a newly added one, as well as any email marketing options. So if you have an individual on there that is going to do more operational aspect, you can again give them the the ability to have those permissions for that. And these can be modified and changed at any time, as we're going to go through too with a new budget feature, or that's going to be added where you're going to be able to give an individual to see the budgets. Again, to someone who can manage time and expenses. And again, you're going to be able to go nitty gritty into that. Now, with the um, chat, this chat feature is great. There's two ways to access it. Obviously, you're going to be chatting on the project level as it pertains to that specific project. As we see here, you're going to have your team chat here. So everyone on here, you can see the team, the project team, the project manager, anyone that you have here. These are the individuals who'd get the notifications specific to any chats that are coming in here. We also have a great tool here, a great way for you to see it too, is where you can see every chat that for every project just in a snapshot. So if you're going to go, okay, I want to go through and see where that chat was for the McAllister home, I can come to this chat here and then just go to it. And then if you had any chats additional in here, they would all show up in here to be able to access the ones that pertain to you as the super admin, or those specific team members on whatever projects they're specifically working on. So they'd be able to access the chats here from the left-hand side in the new chat feature. And then when they go into the project, they'd be able to respond. You can add in various documents. You can upload a file. And we're going to go into Google Drive in a moment. You can kind of send anything out here, and it's only corresponding with the team members or the team that's accessible onto that's accessing that specific project. Now, with files and photos, we have, it used to be where you can just upload kind of like a PDF or just a generalized photo. Now it's grown to where now you can access and use your Google Drive. What the great thing is with the Google Drive is it's not only is it just accessing it from your Google Drive on your computer, if it is something like a Google Sheet, Excel, kind of like those, the linked ones, it will have the living doc on there. So it'll allow you to click onto your Google Drive from there, or it'll add in, if you do anything on your Google Drive on your computer, it'll automatically update and it'll have the real-time document information within the project. So you're able to come through here, you can create folders, you can see everything here it is in a nutshell. I can go to how specific files, I can come to my Google Drive files, and then I would be able to share everything on here. Also, too, with these, we've also managed the permissions for it. So if you wanted to make sure it's accessible to clients or not, or subcontractors, you do have that ability to do that for all of them, or you can go through specific ones that so you can say, this is not going to be something for the client. It's only going to be internal, or these ones are going to be for the client, and they'd be able to see it on their client dashboard.
Would you mind showing where to set that up under settings and integrations as well?
Yes. So under here, under settings and integrations, under the settings icon, you have the Google Drive option here, where you'd be able to then streamline here. You'd be able to connect your Google Drive, go through the process of inputting your email address and login, and then you'd be able to navigate to your Google Drive on any project.
Perfect. Thank you. Let me see. I think we might have another question in the team chat. So on a non-project level chat, are you able to create different threads for different topics? For example, one for marketing, one for pipeline, etc.
Not specifically as of yet. Everything would just be whatever chats are specific to the chat within the project, anything on project related. So there isn't an individual, chat set up that would be great feedback that we can apply. But right now, it's just specific on the project level.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's the only question, so you can keep on going.
Perfect. So the next thing is that we're going to touch on is proposals. Not proposals, excuse me, purchase orders. I'm a very big advocate of purchase orders. It is something that I feel it's very imperative, if you're not already doing it, to make sure that you are working it into your day-to-day operations and your flow, because it's really important to show the outgoing funds as well as the incoming funds, especially when we're going to touch on financial reporting. So if we come through here, we're going to show you kind of how to create one easily. from a proposal here. So whether it's a proposal or invoice, you come to actions. We're going to create the purchase order. And what the nice thing is here, as you can see, there are a variety of different vendors. And I can either choose to say, "Oh, I don't want to do the purchase order quite yet for this specific one or any of them." I can change them, or I can delete them from here, or I can create the purchase order and bulk. What it's going to do is it's going to create 4 purchase orders for me. And it's going to have, or the 3, excuse me, and it's going to show that it's linked to that specific document. It's going to give me my purchase order already. I can come through here then, and I can go through and I can modify or change anything, make sure everything is set up right. Even if you're not sending this to a vendor and you're just keeping it for your own records, I do still highly recommend that you create a PO and just mark it accordingly, and making sure, again, as we're going to touch on financial reporting after this, it's going to all play into that for sales tax purposes and really checking the budget and everything on your project. So as you can see here, I can come through here and I can say, I can change this to being West Elm PO. I can change to whatever I'd like it to be named as. I can come through here and I can see everything at a glance. It'll show me that cost. So as I've clipped or pulled it from my library, whatever on the proposal is going, or the invoice is going to show the cost, that unit price to the client. On here, it's going to show me how much it actually costs without the markup on what I would be paying to the vendor. If it charges tax, it's going to let me know here. If the vendor doesn't charge tax, then you can put it in as none. If the vendor does charge tax, again, this is why it's very imperative, because if you pay tax to the vendor already, you don't want to be double paying it when you're pulling your reporting. So when you come through here, you have a lot of ways to also update into here. If it's back ordered, waiting for quotes, en route, delivered, you can kind of keep track on here. And showcasing it on the status of the item as well. We would log payments here to be able to show that we're going to schedule a payment. If you're going to do multiple payments, so it's a special order, you can do multiples, or you can pay it all in bulk. One thing to note with a purchase order, in order to log a payment, we do have to mark it as billed. Marking it as billed is just telling the system that you have actually been billed for that client or from that vendor, and it is in the process of going, being delivered and produced, and it's being sent to you. So you would mark it as billed, and then you can log the payment accordingly on however you wanted to let it, however the payment was, for your own reference. You can also, if you needed to, before this was done, if you needed to merge documents, you would do that here. You'd be able to merge a PO as well if you had multiple purchase orders for the same vendor and you wanted to merge them into one instead of having them having multiples of them.
Awesome. I have one question that's come in.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody hasn't used the PO feature before, do you recommend going back and creating POs from past orders just to have it on record, or what's your recommendation?
My recommendation, and one thing to note too, before I dive into that, is you need to work from proposal or invoice to purchase order and not back the other way in order to have them linked. So because we can't go backwards, we can only go forward with them. So if you have projects maybe recently, maybe things that you haven't done sales taxes on, I would definitely recommend to go into a project and add those purchase orders in from those documents just for your own records. If you're then going to look at pulling your sales tax for the next round, whether you're doing it quarterly, monthly, I would definitely recommend doing that. Wouldn't say that if you're going to go too far back, but yes, if it's within maybe the last few months, or like I said, you haven't paid taxes yet on this within that quarter, then yeah, go back and create those purchase orders. And like I said, purchase order, even if you don't send it to the vendor, it's just a great item to have on your books to show that money is going out, and what money's coming in based off of that.
Awesome. Let's see. We have a couple more questions that have come in. Can you merge purchase orders from the same vendor but different clients?
No, because it's only merging them within the project level. So it'd be like if I had 3 West Elm ones for my specific Silverman project here, I can only do it within the project. I can't merge POs from another project as well.
Okay, awesome. I think we've answered Miriam's question. Do you have to do a proposal or can it go from invoice to PO? Invoice, you can go from invoice to PO as well, either
Yes,
or.
it's whatever document, yeah, you choose to start with.
Awesome. Okie dokie. And then Deborah and Jennifer, I'm going to also message y'all as well. So you can keep on going, Michael.
Okay, fantastic. So, with this being said, and like I said, as it pertains to purchase orders, it may feel like a small thing, but again, too, I do feel it makes a big impact, especially when we're diving into your financial reports, which can come here and we go into company and we're going to go into financial reports. Now, with financial reports, you're going to be able to see various reporting. So we've got our payments report. So it's again a detailed reporting of incoming and outgoing payments. So it's really for you to be able to have that snapshot of again everything again that's invoiced, anything that you have to still kind of has a pending format or whatnot. Taxes, your tax liability report. This is where, in coming in here, you want to have those purchase orders logged because, again, too, when I'm pulling the tax liability report, you're going to come through here. You're going to let it populate. We're going to, obviously bring it up to a little bit more of a current time frame. Say if I wanted to just do September, I could apply. I could do either cash or accrual. So if I wanted to see kind of like what I want in the what potentially is going to happen, or what could be in a maybe a quarter range of what could, I would choose accrual, but cash is what I would choose on anything that's come in. If it's only specifically on certain taxes, so I want to put all, and then I could generate a report here. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me my taxable amount and the tax amount. Now, it's also going to show me where those items in. So if I wanted to come through here and I can say, okay, yeah, this is the taxable amount, this is how much the client paid, but this is what's taxable, and this is the tax amount according to that. Now, again, why it's imperative for those purchase orders to be in there, to be linked to it, is to ensure that this reporting is not showing double taxing for you. So if you paid that vendor tax, you want it to be noted in that PO. So you're only owing tax on the difference between the two. So if there's a markup of $45, or $100 on this item, I would only be showing the tax for that versus the whole amount. So again, when pulling these reports to get you the most accurate information for your business, and like I said, pulling it, you want to make sure that your purchase orders are linked with your documents in there. The other reports that we have here are transactional reports. So you can view a detailed summary of any incoming. And again, too, your outgoing would just be the opposite of any monies that you're paid. So if you wanted to see everything as a snapshot of, okay, everything that's come in, I can do it for specific on my date range. Excuse me. And I can do it on the specific project. So all my, open and in progress. I can do anything on my, do I want issued, not issued, anything that's in draft form. If I wanted to see it, kind of in all, I can actually do this now by specific ones. So if I only wanted to see my transaction report for a specific, individual, I could do it by the individual client, or I could, and then I can do the project by within like, maybe it's within the last quarter or last month. Again, you can set these filters and settings on how you want it to be. And here, again, you'd be able to see everything in a snapshot. So everything for the specific project within the last 30 days shows me all the documents, what they're for, total proposed, total approved, what status it's in, what's my markup, my taxable costs, because it's going to show me based off of just this income and report. If I applied any discounts, any shipping costs, everything again here, you're going to be able to see again in a snapshot of your of your business again to be able to see any paid payments. This shows upcoming payments, everything that's broken down. So if anything was paid, it would show here as logged. The same would then go with your outgoing payments. So again, too, this is showing, everything that you can have for anything for my active projects. I can do all act specific vendors. So if I wanted to see every outgoing transaction during the time frame for all vendors, I could. If not, I can do it specifically to the vendor at choice. And again, too, I can do build purchasing or unbilled, so everything as it is, where it is if I wanted to do it by status. And then I can go ahead and again generate that report. But as you can see here, it's showing everything as it pertains to where it's at. If you had all your order tracking or any information that you put on there, you do that. It'll show you to here, taxable amounts. Again, this is the taxable amount. If there was no tax or an item on there, it would be there. And the great thing is too, is it shows you the linked document. So you can find out which linked document it's going to go to, whether it be a proposal or invoice. And again, this is showing your outgoing payments. The last reporting that we have here is just a generalized one. If you wanted to view team billing by a time billing by a team member, you can again pull a report on how much time kind of tracked by just to see again at a snapshot of what your team has been billed or specific team members have been billing, so in which rate they're doing it in. So here I can see here it's the team member Michael. This is how much admin, design rate, and the different services that I have listed. It's going to show you at it as in a snapshot, and I can go through and you can go through on your end and do it for your team members as well to again get a snapshot of maybe a specific team member and just kind of see what their time is being billed. And then the same too, you can do it by project. Any questions about?
I have a couple of questions that go back to proposals, invoices, POs.
Yeah,
Do you mind answering those? Okay,
let's
perfect.
go.
So Lisa asked, what's the difference between a proposal and an invoice as it pertains to the client?
So a proposal, I always like to say that the process that the way that it was enabled was that the process would be proposal, purchase order, then invoice. Now it is your own personal preference on how you utilize the actual process, meaning proposal is a gray area for accounting. So it's a great way for you to be able that if there's going to be potential changes made on the document, if you're special ordering something's not going to potentially come in a timely manner, you have to make changes. For accounting purposes, it's easier to do on a proposal because you can still collect funds on it. The client can still pay on it. It's just for your business and like I said, your transactional and finances, and like the tax liability report, that's going to pull things from your invoice. So the way that I like to say is like your invoice is your tax ready document as well. So an invoice can be kind of like that final receipt. So if you have a purchase order for $15,000 in goods, it's all done. Everything's good. Client's fine. You've moved through the purchase order stage. You've done all that, and then you know that everything's going to be ready. They've already paid on the proposal. You would then create an invoice from that proposal, and I always like to say then that's when you're kind of like at the tail end. It's just more like a receipt. There are individuals who prefer just to work off invoices. Again, that is a preference or prerogative. But again, too, for tax purposes or accounting, it allows you a little bit more flexibility on proposals versus invoices.
Awesome. Okay. Nina asked, when purchasing something at retail, what would be the best practice to create an invoice and a PO to capture that? Can you convert invoice to a PO in that instance?
Yeah. So if you're going to go and you're just going to purchase something, and you're just more or less the client is you're getting it again back, and you're not maybe doing anything markup anyways. Yeah, you create that invoice, charge the client, and then create a purchase order from that to just kind of almost be like a wash of that, but it keeps the accounting and the books very clean.
Okay, awesome. Michael asked, can you confirm all purchase orders are considered outgoing? Only the recorded payments are considered incoming, right?
Yes, so all purchase orders is all outgoing payments. all outgoing monies. So again, it's showing you exactly, what for your, again, your, like, especially like tax liability reports and things like that. It's going to give you more of an accurate of what's outgoing, what's ingoing. Yes.
Okay, awesome. I think that is, oh, here's another one. Can you make changes to a selection board after you have created a proposal from a selection board? That's
So if
a
you've,
different one.
yeah, if the item, so they won't speak to each other in that sense. So if you pulled something from a selections board and you need to make a change on it, you can change it on the purchase order. Excuse me, on the purchase, the proposal. You can do it on that end. If you're wanting to have them mirror, you can remove that item from the proposal, make it, and then you can re-add that item to that document.
Okay, awesome. I think we're through those questions, so you are good to keep going. Thank you.
Wonderful. I didn't know, Abby, if you wanted to do the budget tool to touch on that right now.
Sure. Yeah, that would be great. We can go ahead and switch screens. So I'm not sure how many of you know about the budget feature, but it's a recent ad for Houzz Pro. So we've added it to our custom plans. So if you're not on the custom plan, that's something that you could consider. Let's see. Okay. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, y'all. So our budget is going to start with a proposal. So let's just take a peek at this proposal that I have created here. And you can create your proposal any way that you want. You can just look at mine as kind of a reference point, So I've got my design time, how much I'm planning to spend at the top, how much I'm planning to spend on specific items for furniture, how much I'm anticipating to spend for wallpaper, for that wallpaper labor, all of those fun things in my proposal, right? And so at the proposal stage, I'm planning. That's what I'm anticipating to spend, right? And so where the budget comes into the mix is kind of tracking, where do I end up against that, right? I want to know what I'm actually spending compared to what we were projecting. So down here at the bottom, most of you can probably see on your screen as well, the little budget feature. It may or may not be unlocked based off of your package type. But if you have access to it, all you're going to do is just hit link a proposal right here in the center. And then you'll see that any proposals and any purchase orders that you've created will both automatically be available for you to use on your budget. So I want to go ahead and link my proposal because that's kind of that starting point for me. And you'll see it's also popped up this purchase order that I've already created. So I want to add that as well. And then I'm just going to hit sync documents. And now what it's going to do is take all of those line items that we just saw on my proposal and pull those into the budget so that we can kind of track that estimated versus our actual, right? So now you can see we've got line item, we've got that estimated cost directly from the proposal, like y'all just saw. We can expand each line or collapse them or expand them all here at the very top. And then from there, I want to give you guys a little bit of orientation to like what these columns mean, Okay, so up at the top, we have this estimated column. So this is going to be all of those projected costs from that proposal. That's going to include your markup. It's going to include shipping and discounts. The only thing that's excluded is your taxes. For the actuals column, you can see that that's already increased to 14,000, and that's because I pulled in a purchase order, right? I've already linked in that purchase order, so I've already got an actual filling in the blank, and that's going to include time entries. So if you use our time tracking feature or our expenses feature, as well as purchase orders, all of those things can be pulled into your actuals column to track how much you're spending. So we just spoke a lot about purchase orders. That's a really great way to kind of automatically fill in these blanks for you so that you can stay on top of how much you're actually spending. And then lastly, the variance. So that's going to show you the difference between the two. And you'll note that line by line, you also have a variance. So you can see exactly where you're over budget, right? So let's say I'm working on a project. We've done some concept development. I want to kind of see where I'm at on the project, how much time I've spent. I click that a little fast. I'm going to show you again. There's a little plus icon right here. You just click that, and then it's going to automatically show me any expenses and any time entries that I've already put associated with this project. Up at the top, you'll be reminded, hey, this was for concept development. You'll see what you initially anticipated to spend for this line on the proposal, what that proposal was, and then you'll be able to go down the line and say, yep, this concept development time I want to link, this one I want to do too, this one as well, and this one as well. And so what I did on my time billing side, I basically labeled my services the same way that they're labeled on the document. So it makes for really easy tracking I know that a lot of designers are looking for a way to be able to track their time better, like budget time and figure out exactly how much people are spending, especially if you're doing things on a flat rate, to kind of know where you're spending too much time, where you're not spending enough time, that sort of thing. So you just simply link, hit save budget item, and then it's going to automatically update. So you see this went from nothing to 1650. So it looks like I've still got 900 bucks to spend on concept development. So I'm still in the clear, but it's a great way for you, especially if you're the owner of your company, to say, okay, oops, my junior designer has spent way too much time on concept development. We need to have a conversation. We need to pump the brakes a little bit, that sort of thing. So it's super helpful for that. And then similarly, if you choose something that's over budget, this is going to turn red and it's going to be in the negative, and it's going to tell you, hey, you're already over budget. This is not good, right? So let's see one, for example. I think I have a wallpaper one in here, for example. Yeah, this shoemaker wallpaper. Let's go ahead and link that bad boy. We actually spent $37.50. This is an expense that I logged in from the expenses feature in Houzz Pro. I'm going to save that budget item, and then you'll be able to see one that's over budget because I spent too much on that. Or maybe I didn't. Nope. Sorry, I lied. I didn't spend too much, but you kind of get the gist, right? Wallpaper anticipated to spend 4,400, actually spent 3,750, or 670 under budget. So you can kind of see how that works. It kind of goes through, it allows you to link in, like I said, those purchase orders, expenses, or time. And it makes it really nice for you to be able to track things. Something else that I want to point out, it doesn't matter how you set up your proposals. You can set up your proposals in this very conceptual way, and it could be one that you only use internally, right? Maybe it's a proposal you never send to the client, but you need that internal tracking. You could 100% do that. Or if you have the actual items, you can do that as well. So it's pretty flexible in that respect. And then additionally, if you want to export it out, share it with a customer, you can do that too. And then, yeah, I think that's about it for the budget feature. Any questions? Don't see any so far, but if y'all have any, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them. Okay, it looks like we got a couple of questions. Serena, is there a plan to do more training on the budget feature? We did a webinar just a while back on the budget feature, Serena. I can send you a link to it. I can send that to you afterwards. And then Callie, when do you need to add an expense versus invoicing a selection? Would it not be a selection? The expense would be like when you've actually spent it. So like the dollar amount at the end of the day that you spent. So if you do the purchase order, it's already captured in that. But if you have an expense, like let's say you had to run to Target for something very last minute for a project, you might log that in as an expense. Okay. Cool. Okay, I can answer the rest offline if you want to keep going, Michael.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Abby. All right, so what we're going to dive into now is Selections Tracker. So this is a great way for you and your team to make sure that you are having everything for that specific project in one place for yourself. Then you can come through here, you can break it down versus planning, financial, procurement, or all stages. Here I'm showing that in the all stage, just for you to be able to get an idea or a glance. I can come through here if I wanted to sort by a specific room, A to Z, if I want to do order status. You're able to, again, kind of filter and create the way that you want to visually see to you. If you want to do it by category or again by room, this could be a way for you to be able to again, if you're wanting to say, okay, everything that's in the living room, dining room, kitchen, I want it to be sorted that way. You could then do it by the room. Also, too, coming through here, I could see, I want everything just in an approved or pending. So I can come through here, document status. If I wanted to be specifically what had been invoiced, what has been purchased, ordered, to get a glance. The type, it does everything that you add to your project. It's going to show everything. So services, such so time billing, things like that. Typically, you're going to be pulling this more for product, but yeah, filtering it by product. I can go by category. Again, room, if I wanted to just specifically target a specific room, if there's multiple rooms and you again just wanted to specifically target a room, you could do that. And then when it comes to here, if I apply my changes here, I'm going to see everything that's approved or pending. And then as I come through here, I'm going to be able to, in a glance, be able to see, okay, the document status. So this one is draft form, this has been invoiced, this is a purchase order. If again, if it had a PO attached to it, it would show in there. So as you can see here, like the side-by-side fridge, it shows all my proposals, invoices, and POs, where it lives at, how much it is, what the markup is, and everything that you have financially. And one thing I'd like to note is that this is just internal. This is not visible to the client in a dashboard or anywhere else. This is specifically for you and your team to manage everything by. You can come through here, and get all your kind of information. I can add in additional things. So if something was missing on here, I can come through here. I can add in what I'd like to see. I can add the status in. So this is a great way, again, going back to the PO, if you're creating that purchase order and you've added all those details in there, this would automatically sync over to your selections tracker for you then be able to see. You can also come through here and change it too, or add. So like if you've done it's been ordered and now I need to change it to en route, or it's been delivered, I could do that here because then you're being able to then pull whatever report. When you're looking at the snapshot, you can say, yeah, these have been delivered. This was the ship date, this is the delivery, this is the actual ship date, order date, receive date. You could add in as much information as you'd like. You can add in a tracking number. You can add in everything on there. And carrier, who ordered it, the lead time, order number. You can get everything in there. And so when you're going on there and you're talking and you're collaborating with your team, or you're coming in through here, you're able to then see everything at a snapshot and say what's been ordered, what's got a PO attached to it, what's the tracking number on it, where's everything. So that can all be inputted into here, because then what I can go ahead and do is I can also export this as an Excel spreadsheet or an FFE schedule. So if I'm giving it to a receiver, I could then pull the information that I want. Now, when you're doing either of these, or tear sheet if I chose to do so as well, the two are, Excel and FFE are the primary uses, or the most popular. But if I'm going to come through here, I can also then say, okay, I want to download it as an FFE. I can come through and I say what I want now to show. What do I want to be on there? Okay, I want the title, either the original title or the client facing title. So if I, just in case, like if it is going to go to someone's installing, you want them just to still see what the client saw. You could do that. Image, again, either client facing or vendor. You can come through here, you could show room if you wanted to, vendor, unit, purchase order, pricing, the selling quantity, unit price, purchase costs, if that was something that was relevant to whoever you're giving this to or your team, specifications, order tracking, anything on here. And the nice thing is too, is everything is pre-checked, but I can come down through here and I can, check maybe what I don't necessarily need, on the specific information, and then any additional information. So if I wanted to provide the notes or the contract on here, I can go ahead and do this. And then when I download it, I can send it to a copy, and I can also download that file and print out that PDF for myself or for my team again, or for the individual that I'm going to go ahead and give it to. And the same would go for Excel. Whatever I want it to be, if I want it to be custom, or if I wanted to show the profitability on there, so I wanted to show some financials on there. So if you're pulling it that way, versus just kind of showing, everything else, you can go ahead and do that as download as an Excel, and again send to your copy and download it on um, as an Excel spreadsheet for you to export that information outside of Houzz Pro. And again, this again is where you are able to put everything in there. So if you again put in ordered, and and you added all this information on here, you can have it visible, or as much information as you'd like. You can also come through here and do custom views. So if I'm like, I don't need certain things, I don't want it necessarily, maybe the category on there, it'll go ahead and change that. How I want to see it. Do I want to see it stacked or flat? You can go ahead and do that. But again, too, you could filter all the kind of line items out if there's certain things on there that you're like, I just want to shrink the visibility and information that I'm viewing when I'm on here. I can go ahead and apply that, and again, to customize this to the visibility and the view that I want to see at a glance. But again, it's a great way for you to see everything that's been documented, because again, you come through here, I can come through here and see that this has been invoiced, but there is no PO attached to it. So I can see this needs to be ordered. This needs to at least have a PO attached to it. And then I can go through and create a PO from that invoice. Any questions?
Yes. So Serena asked, is there a way to note if something is damaged, donated, or repaired?
So if you're going to you can put notes onto the purchase order. So if something came in damaged, you could then edit or update your purchase order. Because if you're going to be doing a return, you can go ahead and do that as well. But yes, you can. You could always, when it comes through kind of here on the tracking port, but if something were to come through here, I can add in additional notes if I wanted to say this came in damaged, or delayed, or some sort of information. I could add that note information on here.
Yes, and also under order tracking right there, there is a drop down for damage now. We recently added that, so you can use that. And then actually here in the next couple of weeks, we're launching, so you can add your own custom ones. So you'd be able to add that in there as well. So stay tuned. We'll definitely be announcing that soon. So you can add donated, repaired, anything that you need to the status. Cool. I think that's all the questions right now. We can keep on going.
Yeah. That. Excuse me. So again, too, like I said, one thing is with the selection tracker, you can toggle also too between the boards and your tracker. So able to kind of again see things at a glance, and again too, everything that you add to the project at the project level, whether it be on a selections board, which is ideally the first place to start, but if you go to right to a proposal or invoice, it's going to automatically be added onto the tracker as well, and allow you to to see everything at a snapshot.
Could you quickly show how to convert a couple of items to an invoice from the tracker and the boards?
Yeah.
Serena, or no, it wasn't Serena. I think it was Miriam that had asked me that question. I'd love to show that quickly, how you can go to invoice from selections.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have an item in here, so I'll go ahead and I have some items that have been, either whether they're approved or not. Again, too, even if the idea for selection board obviously is for you to have that collaboration with the client to be able to add in mood boards, multiple mood boards, and have that conversation with them. If you choose just to, you've already kind of pre-approved it, I still recommend just kind of putting everything in a selections board just for visual aspect for yourself as you're making sure everything's great. Because again, too, here I can click on the item and I can come through here and I can make sure that everything in here is what is supposed to be. It is, and if I needed to make any changes to the item itself, I could do all that here. But from here, I can then convert. Let's see, I'll have to go through. So if I'm coming through here, as I could take the items that I have, and I can make sure that I want to do, if I'm doing a proposal or if I'm doing an invoice, I could go to either or, and then I can just convert those items over. And what it's going to do, it's going to be obviously in the edit form for yourself. So visually, this again is just for how we are looking at it in an edited view. Once I've got it to everything looks good financially, I typically will recommend to preview it prior to sending it out, just again to make sure that everything looks good. So you can again see it here. So if something was missing, on here, this is where you're going to be able to kind of again be able to see it at a glance. But again, too, with here, and if I wanted to again create a purchase order, I could do that from here as well. And then I can again make sure that if I wanted to add in a discount, again, that wouldn't be visible if there's nothing there. I can add in the multiple payments if there's going to be multiple payments scheduled. I can create a payment plan here for the client to show various payments, but from here, you would then be able to send it out if everything again was if everything was correct.
Awesome. Let's see. If you have several selection boards in one project, can I convert them all to the same
Mhm.
invoice number, or will it create an invoice for each board?
No, you can go in and create. So what you'll do is if you're in that project and you've got multiple selection boards, if you're in one specifically, what will happen is it'll any ones that have it. So if I added something in here, and then I added kitchen, I added from my library. I can go ahead if I'm going to convert whether invoice or document, I can come through here and I can see and I can say, okay, I want to do that and I want to do these and I'm going to create an invoice or proposal and it's going to convert them overall. Um, One of the things that you can do too is as long as payments aren't made on a document, you can merge invoices. So say you do have created separate invoices and you're like, and you say, I want them to be put together, as long as a payment wasn't made on the document, a payment through Stripe, then you can merge those documents, whether it be on the invoices.
Okay. Anything else from your side, Michael? Anybody have any questions?
That's it from me. I think I covered everything.
Okay. Awesome. If anybody has any questions, feel free to funnel some in. We have a few extra minutes. Somebody asked, what happens when you click merge?
So it's going to show me these different ones. So if I merge them, I can come through and I would merge all these documents. It would show me um, every invoice and every document that was on there. Let me go back to see. Once I refreshed, then it pulled everything over that every invoice that I pulled from. It then merged it all together. So then now it's just one invoice versus the four separate ones.
Is there any way to unmerge?
I do not believe that there's any way to unmerge.
It's a good
As of
question.
yet.
And then does it
Yeah.
matter that it was in draft form?
No, as long as it's not in payment. Ideally, you'd probably want to, if you've sent it to the client and you're making these updates, then you can communicate with them and you can merge them and then just talk to them. But again, too, as long as there's no payments made on the invoice itself, then you can merge multiple. If it was, it wouldn't show it. So draft is just, excuse me, draft form is just you showing you're in process of sending it out.
Awesome. This one's not on the technical scope of today, but maybe you can cover it. Leslie asked, could you walk through the credit retainer and refund and how to apply that to an invoice?
Got it. So with so retainers are a great use to be able to collect funds up front. You can go through and again to collect whatever retainer you are, and as many retainers as you'd like. So sometimes I've seen designers do ones specifically for furniture, some with time billing, but I can come through here and I can then create a retainer. So I have one here. If I've sent it out and they pay through Stripe, then that money will show that it's available. If they paid offline via check or Zelle or anything else, I can come through here and then I can log that payment as we'll just say bank transfer, and that'll come through, and that's now going to show that I have the $50,000 available. If I had credits available, they would show in here as well. Now, while we're in here, so this says issue refund. So say if I'm say this all this money here, I'm not going to use it on anything in the future. The project's wrapping up, everything's coming to an end. I would if and I'm not going to again like apply this to another document. I would issue the refund. It does not refund them through Houzz Pro. You still have to offline refund the client But again, too, this allows you to, for documentation purposes, because again, too, back to your reporting, it's going to show all that money that, the payments or anything else that you had come in is now gone for accounting purposes. And again, too, here I can show anything here that's applied on the, and then, so if I'm coming through here, if I go to my invoices and I come into this invoice here and I wanted to log the payment manually, I could come down here. Everything looks good on my payment schedule, and I could come through and log the payment. I can either apply the credit, it'll show me what's available, or I could say, this is what I want to apply, the amount that this one specifically. And then I can apply that, and it's going to pull from that funds. So it's going to let that know. And then again, too, if I go to my retainers, it's going to show that that's available. And the nice thing too is when you continue to add those to whether proposal or invoice, it's going to show you what's currently available and how much of it you'd like to apply. Same with credits. Did that answer
Awesome.
those
And then
questions?
could you show everyone if they have a CSM that could help them one-on-one with the software where they would find that information? Gail was asking, and I believe, Gail, it looks like you should have a CSM, so if, he can show you exactly where you can find that information.
Yeah, it should be. I apologize, since this is my demo account, it's not showing.
Oh, okay, that's okay. It usually shows on that screen though, right?
Yeah, it'll show at the it'll show at the top, and it'll say that or for help. Yes, it'll show there. A question
Yeah.
here, I believe it'll show. Oh, if you under here, it should show two, and a picture.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Did you go through logging payments on purchase orders?
I can go back. So logging
Okay.
payments on purchase orders, yes. So what with a purchase order, in order to log a payment, you're gonna have to mark it as billed. So if I come through here and I wanted to come through and I wanted to schedule a payment and I wanted to hit log payment, it's going to say you have to mark it as billed in order to do that. So I could either cancel it out and then mark it, but it's giving you the opportunity to do it here. And then I can select that I just did it by credit card. If I wanted to put a specific reference number, I could, and then I could hit done. And again, to marking it as billed is again showing that communication with you and the vendor has happened, that it's been billed. Obviously, too, if you went to a retail store or you went somewhere else and you just bought it and this is all for your reference, again, too, that's for that purpose to show that it was actually purchased.
Awesome. Any other questions? We got just a couple more minutes. I'm going to sit out another series of polls just to see how you guys liked the conversations we had today, and any features that you would like to have in the future. Feel free to list those, I think, on the third question, and then let us know what feature you learned the most about today. And any other questions, feel free to drop them in.
And also, too, I was just going to point out if anyone does it, there is back here in the question, you can go to the Help Center and you can also go through how specific trainings, you can go specifically for these or go to the General Help Center. And there's a lot of information, past webinars, tutorials and things like that on on kind of these things specifically.
Yes. And Christine, I think I answered your question above already. We don't have a step-by-step procurement process written out, but that's a great idea. I'll definitely share that with our Help Center team to see if they can consider that in the future. But awesome. Well, thank you all for joining for the last installment of the Houzz Pro Designer Academy. We hope that you guys learned something awesome today. And as always, any feedback, we'd love to hear it. Feel free to drop it in the little green chat icon at the bottom of your Houzz Pro account. Thank you guys so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.